Hello everybody, Eli here again at OSA, here to talk to you about one of my favorite subjects, which is aquaculture, and most specific, coral aquaculture. Today I kind of wanted to showcase some of the products we have here, which I would consider an essential part of the Coral Farmer's Toolkit. After the Frag Farmers Market this weekend, I was really excited to see how many at-home vendors were able to bring a whole bunch of cool things from their own tanks, personal tanks at home. And I think that's really one of the most exciting parts of the reef keeping hobby, is being able to kind of collect some cool stuff, cut it up and share it with your friends, maybe sell it on the side. It's a really cool way to kind of keep this hobby sustainable and to share some of our coolest pieces just by being able to cut them up at home and kind of share the wealth. So I have a few products here that I'd like to showcase. First and foremost, being coral plugs, one of the most essential parts of coral farming. After cutting a piece of coral, you definitely need something to glue it to. So some sort of plug or a ceramic tile is always a great thing to have on hand. If you're looking for a more natural look, especially for something like encrusting corals or favias or something that you want to get a really nice natural growth form to them, I just started carrying these Frag Zone rocks from Caribsea. Super cool, just a whole bunch of small rubble-sized pieces of stone that you'd be able to glue corals to for the ease of moving them around later on a smaller piece of rock, or just kind of getting more of a natural appearance to your corals as they grow out. In terms of cutting the coral, you're always gonna need something obviously to cut them with. We do offer two types of coral cutters. More of your stereotypical bone cutter type coral cutter, which is great for cutting pieces of coral off the plugs, perhaps cutting branches off of branching corals like stylos or acros. Whereas we have these crescent shaped cutters, which are really awesome, useful for cutting the bases off of your plugs. You can get a nice clean cut and not have so much plug left over, so you can glue it to a larger plug to upsize the plug, or kind of glue it to your rock work. Or they're kind of a better alternative if you're trying to cut larger pieces off of a rock that, say, is covered in zoanthids. You can kind of get these crescent shaped bits into the stone a bit better and a little more easily cut larger fragments off of a big rock. After cutting, of course, you're going to need some way to affix your newly cut fragments onto your plugs or onto your stone. Seachem Reef glue is a really nice cyanoacrylate glue that cures very quickly, is totally safe to use under the water, and is very easy to work with. And this size tube is pretty nice. It should last you a decent while. A little easier than using a ton of small tubes, and you might get a little more use out of this than a big tube that might, say, close up or gel up before you're able to get all the way to the bottom of it. We also carry the Seachem Coralcrete, which is more of a two-part putty epoxy. Can be cut up and kind of rolled in your hands to warm it up to activate it. And you can use like small globs, like a round size glob, to kind of help to, say, secure frags to the rock work, or secure frags to a plug with the addition of a little bit of super glue to give you a little more graceful slope between the plugs, so you don't have like these broad shoulders on the plug. Give you a little more natural of a look once you get into maybe encrusting corals, so they don't end up just looking flat. Of course, after cutting and gluing down your plugs, it's always a good idea, especially with some of the fleshier corals, to dip them afterwards, just to kind of ensure a more healthy recovery. Two of my favorite dips to use for this would be the Seachem Reef Dip. This one is a iodine-based dip, very good at sterilizing your corals. Make sure that they don't end up with bacterial infections after cutting. 10 to 20 minutes in this dip afterward is a good idea, just to kind of offer some time for the coral to heal before you throw it back into your tank. Another alternative would be the Two Little Fishes Revive Coral Dip. Good kind of just as a preventative after cutting a coral, to allow your coral to soak in this for a little bit. Kind of helps to avoid some bacterial infections and just promote the overall health of your new fragments. As for new corals, Coral RX is one of my go-tos. This is a really good dip in terms of getting rid of some of the pests that might come in on a new coral, whether you're looking at flatworms, nudibranchs, or just any smaller bugs, copepods, whatever you don't want to bring in on your corals. I like to dip incoming corals with this, so I don't risk bringing any pests into my fish tank. In addition, just having something to hold some clean tank water and add some of this dip to is a must. Some sort of vessel to keep your corals in when you want to agitate them every once in a while with a turkey baster or a pipette, just to make sure that the dipped water is kind of getting every nook and cranny of the coral, making sure that you're not introducing any pests to your tank, and cleaning off every square inch of that plug and the new corals. If you guys have any questions, feel free to check us out online, visit us in store, and we'd love to talk corals with you.
Hey guys, hope everybody had a good time at FFM last weekend. For those of you that couldn't make it, we are going to do 20% off all corals here at the OSA in Coventry this weekend. And some of you might still have the bug left over from FFM. Come on in and grab some more stuff. Hope to see you this weekend.